And so by hot demand. Oh, that's my Facebook. Well, I guess you're going to look at my Facebook for a hot second.
Wow. Love it.
Like, Bridesmaids. I love Bridesmaids so much. And now I can't click my tab because it's in the way. This bar is in the way. Oh, God. No. Okay. Hopefully you can you see that?
Yes.
Kind of. It keeps saying it's paused because I'm trying to fix it. I'm struggling.
You're not using Canva for this one?
No, because sometimes Canva takes a lot of time. Okay, present. Sorry, that took a hot second. That's how my weekend is going. It has been a weekend. Okay, so social media strategy is what I want to talk about tonight because there are some people who, which is I think is really good, right? Like it all kind of stems from social media is kind of where we start, is kind of our base. And so I listened to some Melanie Mitro podcasts, which are so good about her social media strategy. And I mean, a lot of them she talks about, it's very similar things, but it's good to refresh. Okay. And I know, like Sarah's been posting on her story a lot more. Jess has been posting on social media more. So I think it's just some good reminders, and people who will watch the replay of this, it's just good stuff to know. Oh, it's going to yell at me. Okay. So first off, she talked about stop winging it. Me. So like every time you post, I want you to think about like, why are you posting it? What purpose does it serve? She said, when you're winging it, you are literally throwing spaghetti at the wall and you are hoping it'll stick, right? So I'm like taking my noodle. Have any of you guys done this? Shane does it all the time and it ticks me off. He literally just like picks it up out of the pot and he chucks it at the wall. And if it sticks, it's ready, right? And if it doesn't stick, it falls off.
It's a legit thing.
I mean, I know it works, but I've never done it.
Yeah. And so, right, if you are just like winging it, you're throwing spaghetti at the wall, you're hoping it sticks, you're hoping someone picks up on it. And that's not the route we want to go, right? We want to make sure what we're posting has a purpose, and we want to know why we're posting it. So a few tips. So first is use a planner. So I have the Make Chic Happen. I think that's so funny. Make Chic Happen, because it sounds like make shit happen. I love it. And so I am looking at, I think I'm going to get it in January. I am just one of those weird type A people who are like, I have to start a 52-week thing like January 1, which I shouldn't be that way. Because I literally just posted about like, don't wait till January 1, do the thing now. But use a planner, right? So think about like, what are your goals? So like, what are some goals with your social media? So my social media right now, my goal isn't necessarily to increase followers, it's to increase engagement. So I don't know what some of your guys' goals might be. It might be to increase followers, because more followers typically mean more engagement. But you have to deliberately think about what are your goals, and then plan out your posts, right? Maybe your goal is to sell a challenge pack, or maybe your goal is to gain a new coach. Okay, well, if like right near the end of the month, if I haven't hit Success Club, I'm probably posting a lot more about joining. I'm probably posting a lot more about my transformations. In the beginning of the month, I typically post more about coaching and more about that stuff, because it just depends on where you're at. But plan out your posts. I know Angie is really good at drafting posts. Angie, do you want to talk about how you do your posting system? Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're fine. So my best like creative writing comes in the morning, and so I kind of sit down and like think about like what's been on my heart. A lot of times it's inspired by podcasts I listen to. Like I listened to a John Maxwell one last week, and it was about courage, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this like really stems something for me. So a lot of times I'll type up different stories, and depending on the day of like what's been on my heart that I prayed about, or I just feel like someone needs to hear that day, maybe I've had a conversation with, I'll post it. I have found this is just my issue, is when I've tried to draft the photos with the captions in Instagram like 5 days beforehand, when I try to actually post them, it is unable to do that for some reason. And maybe that's a flaw with my phone. I don't know. But that's kind of what I do. I guess, Brianna, you're inspiring me to actually think more about like, why am I posting this today? But that's kind of like what I do. I think it's, rather than sitting there, okay, I have a photo and now I'm going to just think of something to write about here in this moment. I think it's nice to kind of think ahead, but that's also how I function.
Yeah, another way I do it is I literally have a note in my phone, and anytime I hear something that resonates with me, I write it in my notes, because then I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a post today. Like, what do I want to post about? And then I go back to that quote. And guys, I'm going to be honest, a lot of my posts are like are a pep talk to myself, right? Like today when I posted about like, stop shrinking yourself and stuff like that, going for great, like a lot of that is just me talking to myself and the things I need to hear, because I know other people need to hear them as well. Honestly, I think, go ahead.
I was just going to say, another thing I thought to add was like, Melanie always talks about like telling your story. And I also think like that doesn't necessarily pertain to like our Beachbody necessarily, but other things, like I talk about like my experience with National FFA a lot, like the anxiety I went through and like the growth. But I think that's important too, like using those other stories, because that way like people get to know you too, right? And they can connect to you somehow.
Yes.
So.
And then lastly is track your results. So you don't know what you don't know, right? So if I eat, I don't know, I'm bad at tracking my nutrition, but right, like if I don't understand how many followers I'm increasing, or what kind of posts increase engagement, or if I don't know what my followers like or what they want to see, how am I going to post more of that? So a couple things I do to track my results is I always put it on the bottom of my tracker. So at first I was like, number of followers, how am I supposed to figure out how many like Instagram doesn't give me an easy way to do that. So I just write my start on Thursday morning, and then I subtract, or whatever. And so like this week, which has been one of my better week. Oh, I guess it hasn't been. I thought that was better. But then I can see, am I continuing to increase followers? Or if one week, like I've had like half of an increase in followers than usual, I can say like, what's going on? You can also look in Instagram. I talk about this a lot more too in another team call if you look on YouTube, but you can go to the little 3 bars on the top of your Instagram, and then it says insights, and then you can see how much you've been posting. So like I have posted 157 times, either on my posts or like on my feed or on my stories, which is up 38 from last week. That's a lot. And then it shows you like out of your recent posts, how many people have viewed them. So you can see like the one post had a lot more than the rest. And then you can even look and see all, and see in the past year how many, what were your top posts, so you can go back and figure out like, okay, what did people like about it? Like my dog is one of my top ones, so I'm going to post more about my dog because people like my dog. And then you can see how many people viewed your stories. And it's cool because if you go to those insights, under the picture, you can do view insights. You can see how many people it reached. You can see, so because of this photo, 44 people went to my website or to my profile. And then you can see, from hashtags, how many people, all that good stuff. But moving on. Have a specific call to action. Ooh, I should make this smaller so we can see it. So a specific call to action. So go to where people are, right? So if you have a lot of friends and family on Instagram, if you have a lot of friends and family on Facebook, for the first time ever, I posted on Snapchat about the group and about how we're going to have guys in the group. And that's how I got my guys, is because I posted on Snapchat. And I mean, guys don't use Instagram as much as we do. So, and you need to put yourself out there, right? Talk about a problem and a solution. And use your personal story. So this one was a transformation photo. And then I talked about all the things that, I owe to Beachbody because of it and my transformation. And then here was my call to action, right? Are you needing a change or wanting to know how I've changed my life so dramatically in 1 year? Join us on Zoom tonight at 8 p.m. Central and the Zoom ID. I'll be chatting about our programs, products, and giving away some goodies. Like, that was my call to action. I've done it before, comment an emoji, or I do a lot in my, I say vote on my poll, or the link is in the bio. You have to be super clear on what you want people to do. Like, I never realized some people said that when you put a poll on your story, you should like also mention like, make sure to vote on the poll, in like vote on the poll, or like vote now. Like, some people don't realize like that if they want it, they should vote. I don't know. It's very interesting. But just be specific on what you want them to do. And so it might, move someone's heart. Like, I had someone reach out. This post is what made someone reach out to me and want to get started and is interested in coaching in the future. So number 3 is post multiple places. If you're not doing this already, I highly suggest you do it. You have to post more than once, right? So post it on your feed. A lot of times I'll share my new posts to my stories, so that, because I've noticed some people who like my posts, they watch my stories, some people who watch my stories don't like my posts, and some people who like my posts don't watch my stories. So I'm just kind of like covering all my bases. And then I also post on Facebook. Sometimes if I have stuff, I'll post it on Pinterest. I don't know, the other ones, like I don't post a lot on. When I first started, I posted on Snapchat a lot because that was my accountability. I'd always take a sweaty selfie and add it to my story, but that was like back when Instagram stories weren't as much of a thing either. So, but post it on your feed, your story. You could email it. I really want to create an email list, stuff like that. So you want to post it on multiple outlets because you'll reach different people every time, right? Like, I have a lot of people on Facebook that are a little older than me that don't use Instagram, and people on Instagram who don't use Facebook. So, and then connecting with new people. So you always need to be bringing new people into your space. And so you want to build the relationships first. So start a conversation. So one thing I've actually been really intentional about is not having the first message someone ever gets from me be an invite. And so the first message I ever want them to get is a compliment, or, hey, thanks for following me, or talking, on my story, or, responding to one of their stories. But I want to build that relationship first and start a conversation. I have started to, if I go, like, they've been watching my stories or they've been liking my posts, and I go in and I'm inviting, I am no longer inviting them if I haven't talked to them previously, because I don't want them to see it as salesy. And the big thing, like, I know Jess talked about growing her Instagram and she really wants to grow that space. The best thing you can do is follow new people every single day, because I would say if I follow 10 people a day, I'm guessing at least 5 of them follow me back. So you're increasing your followers. You think if you could get 5, you even get 1 new follower a day. If you get 1 new follower a day, you're already at 30 followers a month, or 365 followers in a year. Like, you can see how this really compounds over a year if you add new people every day. When you're finding new people, you want to connect with people you would be friends with in real life, right? So I'm not out there adding random people. I mean, I guess they're random, but they're people I would connect with, right? So maybe they have posts about agriculture. Maybe they are a teacher. Maybe they really enjoy, maybe they have a mini Aussie. It's something that connects us. So it's someone I'd want to actually get to know in real life. So then what I do is I follow them. When they follow me back, I send them a simple message. And Sarah and I just talked about this. So, right, I followed them. They follow me back. I send them a message that's like, hey, so-and-so, thank you so much for following me. It means so much to have your support. I don't know if I even say that. Thanks so much for following me. I can't wait to connect more. And then I pick something off their Instagram, right? So maybe they don't have on there where they live. I say like, hey, I couldn't find it. Like, where are you at? Or maybe they say right in their bio, I'm a teacher. I'm also, so I say, hey, so-and-so, thanks for following me back. That means a lot. I'm a teacher too. Like, what do you teach, or what grade levels do you teach? I'm an ag teacher too. What's your classes that you teach? Anything to start building a relationship with them. Here's the other thing, right? let's talk about marketing. So just because something's on the radio, right? You don't go and buy it. Like you hear Beachbody is on the radio now. Like they're pushing it all the time. I barely listen to the radio, but I turned it on like last month and it was like Carl Deichler. And I was like, oh, hello, Carl. Like, and so, or even Snapchat, if you go through stories, it's on there. And so you think of it like, yes, people probably aren't buying it just because they see it on that story. But what is, okay, so when they say, I want to start a, excuse me, I want to start a fitness program, who do you want them to turn to? Do you want them to turn to you because they've built this relationship and they feel like they can trust you and be vulnerable with you? Or do you want them to go to someone else? And so then the other thing I do is Sarah and I literally had this conversation the other day is I like a few photos, like 3 of them that I like, and I'll even scroll, right? And I'll comment on one of their more recent ones. Sarah's like, do you think it's creepy or do you think it's weird that you like go back and creep them? And I was like, no, because I know like I do it. Like I creep on people so I don't get weirded out if they like 2 or 3. Like don't go like every single photo they have ever taken and posted, but like a few of them and comment on one that really resonated with you because that's going to start to build that conversation too. And so, but that's my new goal is to never invite someone that I haven't had a previous conversation with. And I think that will also make it, I don't know, just easier and less scary to do. Okay. And number 5, you learn by doing. So you just have to start, right? And that's what I preach all the time is just start and do it. And you know, like Jess, how much more confident do you feel after you posted your video of making muffins? Are you like, man, I can post on stories, like, man, that wasn't that bad? Or are you petrified for the rest of your life?
I keep watching myself and I'm like,
yeah, I know. I do that too. Like my TikTok videos, I will like watch them 10 times and be like, why did you do that? This is so dumb. But right, it's easier every time you do it. Like now talking, like I bet Angie can attest to this, like talking on your stories used to be some huge scary thing that we were like terrified to do. And now it's like, meh, whatever. It's just another, you know, like thing. And so you have to try before you start to get an idea. You have to try and I don't know what I'm trying to say there. You have to try and do before you start to get an idea. You just kind of got to do it, right? And then you'll pick it up. And then you can think what worked, what didn't, right? Like, did people, right? When I post certain things, they respond a lot, or did like no one, I don't know. And then look at your results. So again, look at how many people are watching, how many people messaged you from it. Like when I post recipes and when I post pictures of food and I don't post a recipe, a lot of people will be like, what's the recipe? What's the recipe? So now I wait to post my Instagram TVs till the next day. So I'm like, I'll post the recipe tomorrow night. And then people are like literally waiting to see my thing. And then they engage with it right away because they're like, oh my gosh, the other thing I'm going to try to do. And you hear it all the time and we never think of it. Like, Trent Shelton says it and Keisha says it. They always end by saying like, if you love this podcast, right? Like, you know, post it on Instagram or share it with a friend, you know, send it to a friend right away. So I think when I make my food videos, I'm going to say like, you know, like do me a favor and can you share this to your story? You know, like do me a favor. And when you make this recipe, tag me in a photo or something like that. Cause I have a lot of people who will like message me and be like, I tried your recipe. And, you know, maybe if I would have asked them to post a photo or share it, they would have. So just some ideas, you know, where did you crush it? So where did it go really well? People really liked it. And then where did you miss the mark, right? Like there are some of my posts that like flop and some of my things that just don't go well. And why didn't they go well? What could I have done differently? Is it because it was a post that I felt like I just had to post? So I just wrote up a caption that wasn't really heartfelt and hit publish. And there was my post for the day because I'm checking off a box, you know? And so I wanted to talk about, okay, so those were kind of the 5 things. And then these are kind of some other tidbits is gaining trust. So like, I know Jess is really working on this. I think it's something we're always working on because we're always getting new followers, but you kind of have to establish this credibility by showing up and serving others, right? And so they want the free things before they'll buy in, right? They want the recipes. They want the tips and tricks. They want They want to know and try things before they go all in. And so you have to be adding value, which all of you guys have been doing really good about, like your recipes, even just posting like the timestamps in the morning. I think really, like, people have told me that they look at my timestamps and that like encourages them to get up at the same time, because if they see Jess, who is a mom who's trying to figure this all out, and she's able to get up at 5:30 and crush a workout, they're kind of like, well, I'm a mom and I can do it too, right? And so, and then stop worrying about annoying them. So how many of you guys have been worried about posting something because you thought you've been annoying, right? In the beginning, yes. So, right, Melanie Mitro, I love her because she's so blunt and to the point. You cannot pay your bills. I wrote this wrong. Dang it. You cannot pay your bills with someone else's opinion, not opportunity. You cannot pay your bills with someone else's opinion, right? So what Sally Sue says about Beachbody coaches and how they're a scam and they're just stealing people's money and yada, 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 doesn't pay my bills, right? Like, actually, it does the opposite. It, like, takes money away from me because it hurts my confidence, whatever. Or Bobby Joe saying that I shouldn't post pictures of me in my workout clothes because it's annoying to always have these motivational stories, or, you know, you're too happy and you're annoying. That doesn't pay my bills. That doesn't help me, my confidence at all. So you get rid of it. And then the other thing is, if they don't like and connect with your content, actually they won't see it. So if you've noticed on Instagram lately, the people you interact with the most, their photos pop up first, and the people that you like or similar content will pop up first. So if they have not really interacted with you very much, they're not going to see your content anyways. So Bobby Joe, Sally Sue, Tina, they will not see your stuff anyways because they haven't been interacting with your content. So who cares about being annoying? And then what to post. So this was something that took me a little while to wrap my head around, because I'm like, what am I supposed to post about every single day? And I also thought about, like, well, I'm mainly posting because of Beachbody. And so a lot of my posts should relate, but really it's not, right? Your entire life is not Beachbody. Beachbody is actually a really small part of your life, depending on how much you spend, right? Like, I'm not a full-time coach. So really, if you broke down the time frames, teaching should be something I talk about a lot, or my dog, or whatever. And so not every post should be about Beachbody. It should be about what's makes you you. And so some things I think about when drafting posts is like, or creating my brand, is like, what do people think when they see you? So what do they think when they think of Jess, right? They think of a mom, they think of a wife, they think of a cattle manager, they think of someone who is like straightforward and to the point. She's going to tell you how it is, right? Like, and then the other thing I thought of is, what are your friendships built on, right? So when I think about Angie and I's friendship, it's built on a lot of faith. It's built on, we share a lot of recipes. We talk about food. We push each other to be better women of God, right? So that thing about thinking about, like, when I hang out with my friends or I talk to my friends, what do I talk about? What are things that make me, me? So here, right, I have a transformation photo because of the workouts. I have my dog. I have a recipe because I love food. I have my shirts and my crafting. I have, was about school, this picture down here. And then here's one of my workout, no effing excuses, right? And so it's all about finding a balance and finding things that make you, you, and posting about it, right? Angie posts a lot about faith, recipes. She posts about Beachbody. She posts about teaching, because those are what makes her, her. So. And then hashtags. I know I've covered hashtags before, but I always think it's a good reminder. And I was literally just asking myself this today, is like, how many hashtags should you use? Melanie Mitro recommends anywhere from 20 to 27. I think 27 is the cutoff of like how many you can have. And then you want to have different sets for different things of your life. I did not proofread. That is one of my downfalls in life. I don't proofread. So you want different sets for different things, right? So if I'm posting a picture of my dog, I might use my set that's about dog mom, mini Aussie, dogs of Instagram, right? That, whereas this post was all kind of a like, bam, in your face, like inspirational motivation. So I literally typed in inspirational hashtags, copy, paste over. When I post about Beachbody, I'll post, you know, hashtags that go along with that, or maybe it's a recipe. I talk about food, but you want different sets, because if you use the same hashtags every single time, Instagram will block, like, not block them, I don't know, the Instagram and social media, I don't understand how the computers work, but you don't want to use the same hashtags on every single post every day, and you want to use ones that are relevant to your life and your posts, right? So like, a lot of times I'll put on mine, like, even if it's nothing to do with teaching ag, I'll put teach ag, because that's how I find other ag teachers, even if it has nothing to do with being in the classroom. Or I post, I don't know, right? Dog mom or stuff like that, that is a way some other people could find me. And it's how you want your post to be identified. So I shared this photo just because it talks about, I literally copied and pasted these, right? But my caption was about getting out of the box and doing what you need to do. And so here, you know, I have inspiration, motivation, like all these things that someone might look for on Instagram, and then they can find my post. And so that's how hashtags work. It kind of makes you findable, if that's a word. Okay, so for our last 12 minutes, you know me, I like to take action. So for 3 minutes, we're going to kind of break it down like how we did, but this is going to be all about building social media. So I keep opening my calculator. For 3 minutes, you're going to follow others. For 3 minutes, you're going to respond to stories. For 3 minutes, we're going to comment. And 3 minutes, we're going to welcome new followers. And so, and they don't even have to be new, right? They could be anyone you've never talked to and just said, hey, like, thanks for following along and liking my posts. Like, where are you from? So first 3 minutes will go now. And I'm actually going to stop this recording because they don't have to follow along with us. So I'm going to stop the recording. And if you have anything to share,